Hey everyone, Michael here with Arising Co. This video is going to kickstart our series on website reviews. Pretty much, we're going to help you know how to increase online traffic onto your website from search engines. It starts with us reviewing, whether great websites, not so great websites. We'll go over things like design, tools that you can utilize to be able to get much of that traffic onto your website so that you can you know, fulfill whatever mission you have that your website's supposed to accomplish for you instead of just letting it be a storefront without any kind of marketing efforts involved. And so for today's video, we're going to be going over a general contractor service. So we're going to go over an HVAC company. It's a pretty solid website from what I saw. And I'd like to go into it a little bit more, talk about the things that they're doing great, maybe some things that are not so great if there are. And so again, guys, this is super live. Join along this ride and share it with anyone. Write down in the comments any kind of questions, feedback that you guys may have in terms of search engine optimization. Love to get back to you on that. Subscribe for sure, as I'm going to be dishing out some more videos in relation to this. And I look forward to hearing your feedback. Let's start with the review. All right, so we have ourselves here Gary Mudson Heating and AC Services. When I wanted to pick out a website for this, I wanted to pick out a website that, or at least a company that it's not nationwide across the United States. And so I know many of you may be watching, you guys may not have that kind of tenure. If you do, awesome. But if you don't, and you're more like a mom and pop shop, freelancer, etc., it's good to understand and see like how to start from that place before you move on into additional locations. Here we are. So we're in this. And by the way, I'm not affiliated at all with the company. I am simply just doing a review. If you guys have any thoughts of different type of websites, maybe even your website that you'd like to review as well, write it down in the comments. I'd love to be able to actually give you some insight. But with that said, let's just take a look here at the website just for an initial look. Like I just want to see. I have to position myself in the shoes of someone that actually needs air conditioning work. Because if I don't need air conditioning work, then I'm obviously not going to pull up this website, right? But based off of what I see here, now granted, something that's pretty pivotal is that when it comes to your website, you want to make sure that it's optimized and mobile responsive, is what I mean. So, meaning about 80+% of people are going to most likely find your website on their phone. And so, you want to make sure that your phone is actually, your website is actually optimized for mobile viewing, a very key indicator for SEO. Right now, I'm looking at it from a desktop position. If I wanted to see it from a mobile position, well, I have it right here too. And something that you'll immediately catch that's really cool is that it goes away from the typical mobile layout of a website. And so normally you have the menu on the top right. Here they have the menu on the bottom left. And they have a lot of calls to actions, right? So if I need maintenance for my AC, I can just click on that. If I want to call immediately, I can do that. If I want to do AI chat, most likely I can just click on that. But let me just try the menu. Yeah, then I see everything on the menu. They make their calls, schedule service really big. And so if you're in the contractor space, you're doing HVAC, electrician, home inspections, mold inspector, all kinds of different things. These are very good things to apply. But especially this new menu kind of thing at the bottom, it's kind of making it function like a mobile app. And so you see why, like, if a lot of people are mainly watching or seeing your website for mobile, it makes sense to try something like this. It is custom. And so you just have to make sure that you have the right personnel or you have the insight to be able to create something like this just for the mobile screen. So I'm going to scroll through this as a mobile user. So I like the fact that already. Um, well, let's start somewhere first. What I like initially when I see like this whole website is it's very clear. When it comes to SEO, Google really loves very clear websites as far as what's your intent, what's the authority, what are you trying to do and portray for people. And so in this case, here's an air conditioning company. They immediately get straight into the social proofs. Like They've been existing for 4 decades, family owned and operated, up to 12 years parts and labor warranty. That's always a great sign, at least on the HVAC side of things. And the call to action is very straight and clear: schedule service. And so one of the things is that you'll find though is that if you go to the next section, we have heating, air conditioning, and indoor air quality services in Orlando, Florida. These kind of things, especially if you are in a physical location or you provide a um, service in a service area, you want to make sure that you have these kind of headings very clear with a location on it. This actually helps for ranking for a particular keyword. And so in this case, if we were to type in, let's say, air conditioning Orlando, we're going to get there now. So I'm going to open up Ahrefs here. I have a paid subscription on this because I am a SEO. We have an SEO agency. But if I were to type in air conditioning Orlando, something along these lines, you'll notice here that the search volume on a monthly basis is 150. So I'm not going to focus on global because this shows like outside of the US as well. So I only want to stay here. And the reason why I like this is because instead of just going for air conditioning, which will more than likely show a whole slew of keywords, air conditioning Orlando, right? It's high intent. But you see, air conditioning, that keyword is 42,000 searches a month. Air conditioning Orlando is 150. So when you're coming up with the right keywords, you want to make sure that you do keyword research first. And oftentimes, if you don't have access to these tools, it's good to hire, an SEO agency or someone to maybe do some keyword research for you, especially given that they'll have like a track record and really being able to help you, no matter what your industry is. But it does depend on your service and what kind of industry space you're in and where you live in as well, because you really want to make sure that people are actually searching for your stuff. And sometimes these tools for low search volumes don't necessarily show that. But in this case, they're ranking for what? They may be ranking for air conditioning Orlando. We haven't checked yet, right? We're just doing a website review so far. But as I'm going here, I'm seeing the clear indicator here. This is a great heading. But then if I right click this, I just want to see real quick to see if this is an H1 or an H2. This is super important. So I don't know that you can see this on my screen. So maybe I'm going to try to stretch it in. I don't know if I can zoom in here, but um, you have these different tags of like H1, H2, all the way to H6. H1 tells Google and any search engine that, hey, this is what we're about, right? You want to make sure that you only have one per page, one H1 per page. The rest can be H2 and H3, and it just flows, right? In an accordion kind of style. H1 will be what you're mainly about, and H2 will supplement and support what you're all about on that H1. And then your H3 maybe like sub points. You don't really go all the way down to H6 more than anything nowadays. And it's not a great big indicator, but having an H1, H2, H3, those are some pretty basic foundational things that you should be doing. And so you should check your website always to make sure that this is not just a paragraph tag that you just made bold and bigger text. If you do that, you are potentially ruining opportunity for you to rank for a particular keyword in your industry. But I like this, right? They're doing things right here. Then they have scheduled service, they have different imagery. When it comes to then this, okay, this is an image, and please let this not be an image. Okay, great. So one of the quick things that it's very important to understand is that oftentimes people like to do graphics like this and put it all in one image as opposed to making it like this, where it's like text, and then you have your icons that are like images or anything like that. When you do it in an image, search engines can't scrape that to read what your content on your image is about. And so there are websites out there that are literally like, hey, man, I made a really cool graphic on Canva, slapped it on the website that shows like all your service information. Well, what you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. And so you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that if you have a cool design, well, try to design it on the website itself with actual text. Super duper important. They have here some testimonials, which are awesome. Clients, more information here. They have a map, get deals from our family to yours. How can we make you more comfortable? This is a great tool to have as far as design goes because all this information, again, it's all about getting a minimum amount of wording per page because when it comes to SEO, you're going to be ranking for a particular keyword, multiple subset of that keyword, similarities of it on a given page. And so you want to make sure that then a different page is going to have a whole different set of keywords. So maybe their heating page is going to focus on heating, right? Emergency heating repair Orlando, or some other city on their service area. Because if you look closely, they actually serve as Aaliyah Park, Castleberry, Lake Mary, right? We pretty much just call it all Orlando. But this is pretty important because the searches vary. And so if I were to go into here, air conditioning Lake Mary, for example, instead of Lake Mary, instead of Orlando, Lake Mary, you see here, 0 to 10, but it doesn't mean that people aren't searching for that. It just means that it's fewer. Or air conditioning Winter Park, right? Winter Park is a pretty popular place here. Let's just see. Well, 0 to 10 as well. But then what if I say something like this, like emergency AC repair Orlando, AC repair Orlando, AC repair Lake Mary, let's just try that because air conditioning is still pretty generic. All right, well, look, AC Repair Orlando, 800 searches a month. A lot of people are getting emergencies. Better fix that AC in Orlando. Super hot. And then AC Repair Lake Mary, that's 50 instead of 800. But if you notice closely, this KD indicator here, this is keyword difficulty. So it's a lot easier to rank for AC Repair Lake Mary. So if you're an HVAC contractor in Lake Mary, better hop on this. As opposed to Orlando, but if your location is in Lake Mary, this is a great thing, a great keyword to be looking for. What this just means is that your website requires less backlinks in order for you to rank for that keyword. Backlinks are essentially a sign of approval from another website that links to your website from their website. You can almost say that if I had example.a.com and you had example.b.com, and you wrote an amazing article or you're an amazing company, then I want to feature you on my website. And so on examplea.com, I have a page dedicated to, hey, these are some really cool sites that you guys should visit. And I put exampleb.com there, and ta-da, you have yourself one backlink. And so that this is the point of that, and then this is also the point of making sure that your location is there. But why I'm getting to that is because if you see here, I can actually like click on this, and if I click, you see that they actually have service areas for Lake Mary specifically. And so if I were to go into the URL, which I want to see, nice. So this is very good practice for contractor services. If you have multiple service areas, right? Let's say you do Orlando or you do some other place, but you also within it, there's a lot of multiple cities that you actually do work in. It's good to have additional pages that are service areas that then focus on those keywords because search engines are going to look at your URL and see those indicators along with the keywords that are in the actual page itself. And so what they're doing here is capitalizing on things like that. So I can almost guarantee you, if I were to take this page from Lake Mary and I were to just search to see how it's performing, look at that. It gets about 23 average search traffic a month. And where is that traffic mainly coming from? It's coming from Heat Pump Service, Lake Mary, Florida. And they're at position 5 for this keyword. They're not even number one, and they're getting 23. And so, but when I see this, it makes me wonder, man, why don't they, why aren't they getting AC repair, AC conditioning, all that stuff like for this particular page for Lake Mary? Well, we have to look at the website's age. How long has the website been in existence, or how long has it been since they actually started doing stuff towards SEO? And so when I look at months in air conditioning, if you look at these metrics here, you'll notice that it has for traffic here 300 average monthly with a value of 3K, meaning the keywords that they're ranking for, or at least the traffic that they're getting, it's worth up to $3,000 in monthly Google Ads spend. And so they don't have to spend $3,000 to get this 300 search traffic a month, which is a great deal. That's why SEO is really awesome. But, if I look over here over their track record, you see before in 2023, they weren't really doing much. They were just coasting. And then they started getting up, right? And then coasting, coasting, and now they've been making much more of an effort to keep with their SEO. So I'm curious what keywords they're actually ranking for. So if I go here, I see that, oh, this is always a great thing to see. So oftentimes your company website, if people know about you, they're most likely just searching your name on your website. I'm sorry, on search engines. And so they're finding your website on search engines by just searching your name. That is not really SEO, unless, of course, there are other companies out there that have your name and you want to be on the top for that. That's more of brand recognition, right? They know that your brand exists, so I'm just gonna search that. But for all the people that are trying to find your company based around the service that you provide, that's a completely different ordeal. You want to rank for those keywords. And so in this case, they're ranking for HVAC companies Orlando, 100 monthly searches on average. And these things can trend, right? They can go high or low. And they're ranked number two, which is awesome. And it's saying they got 242 traffic just from that alone. And you got to be careful because oftentimes like this may not always have the high intent of users and people that are actually getting AC services or wanting AC services. The keyword HVAC companies Orlando could also be just people looking for a job in Orlando. And when we have that before where we're ranking for certain keywords and we think that it's something, but it's actually something completely different. So they may be getting a lot of calls saying, "Hey, I'm an HVAC tech. Would love to work for your company." But who knows? Maybe they're actually getting great amount of leads just through that keyword alone. But then they have other ones like AC Repair Winter Park. Five people at least last month, or at least this month, did it, and they're ranking number eight for this keyword with a volume of 80 searches a month. And so it's really cool. You don't have to necessarily be top one, two, three. We're finding that throughout at least top 10 ranking on the Google. So like people are scrolling down to be able to click and just vet the services. And so this is very heavy on the contractor space because people mainly want to see your Google business profile. And that's something I didn't do right away. But if I were to go to Google and I were to type in, right, Munson AC right here, it says nearby. Uh, there they are, 4.8 stars, 295 Google reviews. This is super duper awesome. They're doing great in terms of their reviews. And this is something that you should be doing as far as SEO. If you're in the contractor space, you want to make sure that you're getting reviews because if you're only optimizing your website, but you're not doing the reviews, then as far as local SEO is concerned, people are going to be finding your competitors over you should your competitors have a lot more reviews and they have a physical location. I have another video on that, but this is super duper important. This is great social cues for this company to continue to rank. And one thing that I love that they're doing is actually responding to them, whether they're high rating or whether they're low rating, because you're always going to have some people that are just going to, review bomb you and give you some bad reviews. And it may not be entirely your fault or your company's fault. And sometimes it is. But hey, it's all about owning up to it and writing. And so I don't know, in this case, let's go back to the website. But it looks like for them, they're ranking across some nice keywords here, Longwood HVAC. And so, hey, someone in Longwood, Florida is looking for them. AC Repair Winter Park, Furnace Repair Orlando. And you see they have all these other keywords that they're ranking for too, but it's just too high in the totem pole. They need to continue to maybe dish out more content, or because SEO is a long term game, if they've done changes on their website recently, then it's not going to, reflect on the rankings until maybe optimally 6 to 9 months from now. It could be shorter as far as like tracking and seeing the keyword changes. But the way that it looks like, if you see here, this is green circle here, overhaul changes. So it seems like there was a big overhaul change in prior to December. So November 11th, they're doing a lot of changes on their website that could have led to this additional increase from 100 average to up to 300. So that's really cool. Within a few months, most likely their company is only going to continue to go higher and probably rank for brand new keywords as well. And maybe it's those keywords that are not ranking in the top 10, they're going to get up there with it. So that's pretty cool to actually behold and see. Let's go back to the website. And so what they're doing right, at least in the contractor space, again, every page has really useful information. They have internal linking that takes them to their respective place. the navigation is super duper clean. Website runs really, really fast. You want those kind of things. You don't want to be on a website host that doesn't give you speed right away, especially in the contractor space, because you are competing against other companies that are getting the attention of your customer if your website is slow. If it's slow and not responsive, they're gonna go elsewhere, right? People are vetting, people are price shopping, and so you want to make sure that it is speed. And Google search engines love speed, obviously. But as we keep on going, we got about, I mean, in general, they have so many pages. But one of the things I do love is that there's a clear distinction between commercial services that they provide and residential services that they provide. And so think about it from your company perspective. Do you have residential and commercial and other different tiers of the same services that you have? And if you do, you should be creating separate pages for that. And another thing that's super duper vital is you want to make sure that instead of just having one service page that covers all your services, you want to do what they did here. They separated each of their service according to what it is. This helps SEO for your website immensely because your website now, your page is dedicated to that particular keyword. If you do not do this for your website, then we're going to have some problems, right? You're just going to have a service page, a search engine is going to look at it. You're going to have a myriad of things in it, but it's not central to that particular service unless you fill it up with like a bunch of words for and descriptions for each of those keywords slash services. And but then you're never going to get anywhere with that. And so this is a great thing that they're doing here. Um, Design wise, it's great. I love the UI of it. It's very clear, it's very clean. Um, Make it easy to pay. The goal with SEO is again making sure that when people are here, they're not bouncing away from your website. Like if I came here from Google and I just went to another website, that would be considered a bounce. They're looking for engagement, right? If I found you on Google and then I want to be able to go navigate through your page and then be able to click on something that takes me into another place of your website. That shows me that there's something of interest in relation to the search query that that customer did on the search engine, and that means that your website is answering that very request that the customer had. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. All in all, this company is doing things right. I don't know all the overhaul changes that they did. Maybe that'll be for a later video where we do like a wayback machine and just see what their website looked like before those overhaul changes and then after, so that then we can get into the nitty gritty. But I wanted to provide at least a general overview with some insight on some of the things that you should be doing, especially if you are a contractor and you have a contractor website. But all in all, this website, especially based on just initial reviews here, you'll see that within the last 6 months they gained traffic of 200 in those on a monthly basis. And normally, when we see things like this, it's only going to continue to increase should they continue to provide articles or optimize their service pages. So you do get to a point where your website may already be optimal across all your pages, and then you're not ranking on number 1 through 3 for your keyword. Well, you want to make sure that you go back and then you have an agency actually come in, or you have the tool itself to be able to look at your competitors, see what those competitors are doing or have done, and maybe they have more referring domains and backlinks than you, and more quality one, or maybe their pages feature more things that allow more engagement, right? There's a lot of things that we can go through, but you can stay tuned for more videos where we dive into more of those specifics, because SEO isn't just a one and done kind of thing. It's a long-term investment that you're doing, but you definitely reap a great reward from that. Because I'm sure that for them, this right here, this $3,000 in Google Ads just for this traffic, they must be glad that they're not having to spend that much money as they continue to invest in their SEO. Sure, they're going to still maybe spend on some Google ads, on some Facebook ads, or other marketing efforts, but the more that you prioritize your SEO for your website, the better. And so that's definitely one of the things that you want to do. But all in all, I think this company is definitely doing things great on their website. Highly recommend this to be mimicked if you're in the contractor space and your website does not at all uh, present your information in such a clean way like they do. Highly recommend that you do that. But if you guys, I definitely want to hear more of your questions, um, any kind of things that, as we go through this, maybe I didn't cover something. I'd love to be able to provide an answer on the comment section. So definitely write something in on the comments. Would love for you to subscribe. Definitely here to help you arise to your God given potential, especially for your business and company in terms of online visibility for your company. And I think they're doing a great job with that. Obviously, I'll review much more websites, much more contractors, much more different industries. And so stay tuned for that. But would definitely love your feedback. What are some things that should be done? Maybe some things that shouldn't be done. We'd love to hear that so that we can continue to work over on the videos. But until then, this is Michael Santiago with Arising Co digital marketing company here in Orlando. You can definitely reach out to me here on the comment section. You can reach out to us on our website at www.thearising.co. A lot of people, make that mistake. It's thearising.co. And so you can check out all the things that we do there. And until then, God bless you guys. Continue to do a great work in all that you do. And remember to always serve with excellence. Take care.